Welcome back. It's Major League Sorare. It's TrippinB. It's DraftKicks. We are the show that focuses on the America division for Sorare with a huge emphasis on MLS. But you know I love my Argentinian defense stacks as well. And my Liga MX mids do a trick. DraftKicks, how you doing, man?
Doing well. I am pumped up, man. This weekend, I'm going to
Wow.
be in attendance for the inaugural St. Louis City FC home game versus your boys, Charlotte. I know, I know you're representing over there as well, but hey, St. Louis is within driving distance for me,
man.
and
put up your dukes.
some of the guys over in one of our Sorare Discord chats threw out there that they've got some tickets and asked if I'd be able to make it and work some magic. You know, got everything sorted out for the weekend, and yeah, I will be there. So I'm pumped up. Should be a good game. St. Louis surprised a lot of folks opening weekend, going into Austin and knocking them off. Like I really didn't know much what to expect from St. Louis. That was a surprise.
Big surprise.
And I'm amped, man. I think it's just going to be a big party.
Did you say you're Ant-Man? Did you say you're Ant-Man?
I'm amped.
It's like, oh,
I have not seen Ant-Man yet.
Is this guy about to shrink on me? Go to the quantum realm? Jimmy Christmas. No, is St. Louis the quantum realm? And I never knew it. Maybe who knows? But yeah, I wish I could make the trip. I'm committed to a big Charlotte FC event that we're doing here for the Charlotte Soccer Show. We're hosting a big watch party with the new initiative. Otherwise, I would have probably tried to work some magic as well. So shout out to Sorare for providing the tickets. Everybody thinks it's just whales that get free stuff from Sorare, but that's not necessarily true. The little guys get some free stuff too. So I'm glad that they sent some tickets America's way for a few MLS knuckleheads who want to go to the St. Louis opening match. I think that's really cool, especially because those tickets are going way overpriced on the secondary market. Like it's absolute joke what some of the markups are for the St. Louis opener tickets, and I get it. They have a tiny stadium, and it's completely full already, and they do have passionate fans, but they didn't build them a big enough stadium. What can I say?
Yeah, no, I think the St. Louis City contingent is just excited to finally have a professional soccer team, first division, top division, I guess you could say.
Yeah, St. Louis FC has been there.
Yeah, they're showing out. I mean, they've always historically been a soccer city, like some of the club soccer especially. They produced a lot of talent. I think Taylor Twellman's from St. Louis, and so
of course,
yeah, a lot of
repping. He has been repping strong.
Yeah,
for
he's
sure.
definitely a brand rep. So I think everybody's excited, and I think you're going to see it. Hopefully, anybody watching this definitely tune into that one because it should be a fun game. I think the matchup in general, like I think Charlotte, St. Louis City, like both kind of some newer teams to the league, but both have a lot of exciting talent, and it's going to be fun, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, For the Crown fell on their face. I was in attendance when Charlotte lost pretty poorly to New England. It was a 1-0 loss in the 89th minute, so you feel like you should have got at least a point at least. But really, it was just a bad performance, nearly start to finish. The team was too overcharged, I would say, and wanting to honor the memory of Anton Walks. There's a lot of For Anton Forever celebration and remembrance before the match, and that sort of set a tone of like every guy was just like, yeah, they're trying to do it themselves. It was there was no connection among the Charlotte team. So I've been Sorare wise, I've been a big advocate for Charlotte players on this show. I will say a couple of my touts delivered for sure in terms of Pablo Cisniega was great. He was sitting on an 83, I think, until that late concession, which you can chalk up to a mistake by his teammates that put him in bad way. I know you think he should have saved it, but you always think a goalkeeper should have saved everything, unless the shot came from you back in the day. But Cisniega delivered. I think there's a situation with Kalina is starting to work his way back in training. I still think Cisniega is the guy for at least 3 more game weekends, if not longer. Like, he could still hold the job even right when Kalini comes back, and then he might have to wait for a bad performance for him to go to the bench because he really did play well. We'll have to see, watch his performances and decide how much risk you're willing to ride with keeping him. I'm keeping him because I have both. I'm covered, so full disclosure, I don't need to necessarily sell Cisniega. If Kalina comes back, I just switch to Kalina. But the other thing is Ashley Westwood delivered, and we're going to talk a lot about Westwood and midfielders more in a little bit later in the show. But I was really proud of Westwood. He should have had a goal, should have had at least a shot on target, skied one from inside the box over the bar, unfortunately on a tough chance. But He delivered still 63 Sorare points. He was racking up AA on top of all the free kicks. So if you haven't got Ashley Westwood, there's people out there like overcharging for Ashley Westwood big time. If we look real quick, I'll call up his page real quick just because I do think he's worth talking about. We'll do that later. I just want to say that Charlotte St. Louis is going to be great, and I assume you're going to be getting a new scarf to go behind you there with your collection of various clubs, Nashville, Cincy, and Orlando. And I hope all the Sorare boys have fun. I think it's be great. I do think Charlotte will play a lot better. I do think St. Louis kind of stole the 3 points in Austin, and really, if it wasn't for St. Louis native Kip Keller, who subbed in the 10th minute, didn't even start the match, but then somehow completely threw the match and got beasted by Tim Parker on a set piece goal, made a horrible back pass to his former teammate to give away a goal, right, and just then didn't really look very good on the Klaus winner either. So it was all a bad mess. And
that whole backstory on the Keller back pass to Stroud is just so intriguing to me because Stroud played for Austin last season, so these guys were teammates, and so apparently Stroud was in his ear, hey, give me the ball, yelling for a pass, and Keller's probably made that pass multiple times without thinking, and I'm sure it just was like out of just repetition. And when I saw it at first, I was like, how does a pro defender make such a bad play like that? But once you start hearing some of the dynamics, and when you replay the video of the goal, you can see Stroud kind of calling for it, and I believe there was some back and forth as far as is that actually within the rule book, FIFA rule book, can you do that? And I think the ruling is that if a referee hears that happening in a game, then you could be yellow carded. So I guess in that instance, and maybe the ref didn't see it or hear it, the goal happened, totally changed the momentum of the game. St. Louis kind of stole 3 points, but for an expansion team to pick up a big win like that in their very first ever game, then that was huge. And they'll probably take it however they can get it, even if it's a little twisted, twisting in the rule book there.
Yeah, and we'll keep going on this game for a second because it gets us into our major first topic, which is meet the midfielders, right? The Lewin was just a revelation in this game for SO5 purposes. If you didn't already have him, I mentioned Westwood. If you don't already have a Westwood, it might be too late. If you don't already have a Lowen, it might be too late because these guys are not going to go for cheap anymore. Lowen had an awesome week, and I want to share a screen here.
I actually looked them both up yesterday, and their prices are skyrocketing already. So people are taking note.
Yeah, so here, if I can share this screen, this is the top midfielders scoring for MLS midfielders last game week, right? So shout out Sam Piet. The first ever super rare I ever bought, way overpaid for it, way back in the day. This is May of 2021. Has gotten very little utility out of good old Sam Piet in my time of owning him, but he did score higher than he was the highest scoring midfielder in MLS this week, which is pretty cool for him. I had him in a low priority lineup this week, and I got no use out of his 96, but maybe he might be a little bit better going forward and might find his way into more lineups in this new Montreal system for sure. But here's Lewin, who I mentioned earlier, turned into 82 with the assist. Looked really good. Again, like Westwood on top of all set pieces. If we go down here a little lower, Westwood had the 63 with no decisive. He would be up in the 80s, 90s up here if he had finished that goal chance that he got. So these are some of the newer midfielders that are now in play. When you think about what we know going into MLS season this year, we know Carlos Gil, Thiago Almada, Ricky Puig. These are the guys that you want. But some of these new names are now the names we have to get used to. Who are you overreacting to and underreacting to in terms of these week one performances from guys in the league that we didn't see before? And by the way, here's Gazdag stealing 2 goals again. And somehow, he can't keep getting away with this. I don't know how Gazdag continues to be the man and always get 2 goals, but it happens. Yeah. Anyway, the question, new midfielders, who do you got? Who do you love? Is Klitsch an overreaction? Is Cudi Pietro an overreaction? Hit me.
Hey, Cudi Pietro, just right off the top, he's one that I had my eye on preseason, was scoring goals. Really kind of just came out of nowhere. We've seen him over the past couple of years, and he's really starting to make his name known now. Only thing with him is he did come off the bench. But hey, I mean, if he's producing
off the bench, yeah,
probably a matter of time until he cracks that starting lineup. no way Rooney's going to keep him on the bench if he's producing like this. And so, yeah, he's one that I'm eyeing. As far as an underreaction, Evander, like everybody's already throwing him under the bus. Like, and what, like
Sure.
he had a
Look
terrible
how far,
first game.
Look how far we have to scroll down to get to Evander. Look, we're going past 17-year-olds. We're going past injured players. We're going past the dusty bones of Nico Ladero.
Wow.
And I remember people were saying, Evander, oh, this is the new cheat code. Welcome to the new MLS cheat code. Oh, this guy crushes. Oh, there he is. You know, last game of the game week, 25. It does. Let's see if I can call it up. It didn't show his scores there, but here we can see.
How has that affected his rare price? I haven't even gone in and checked myself. I've got one of his limited cards, and I'm not panicking trying to run and sell it at this point.
Let's check the. I'll check the price in a second, but first let's break down just this performance and tell us what you think of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, obviously you see like the yellow card, the fouls, like you're gonna drop some points there. I think it's like I've said with a lot of players that come into the league, there's definitely going to be kind of a wait and see period and let them build that chemistry with their new teammates, get acclimated to the league. Some guys we've seen come in and just, you know, blow it out of the water right off the start. But there's several players that I think once they get into the league, they're like, wow, like this is not as much of a cakewalk as I thought it was going to be. So
minus 21 points from duels and possessions lost is pretty one, and you know he only got 9 back from winning duels and possessions. So that's a net negative 12 there. It's really bad. Won a few contests, a few passes into the box, but nothing major. Just and Portland was doing good. Portland was winning this game fairly easily. They kind of played at half speed almost in the second half, I would say.
Yeah, they had a lead, so
for sure, and they just kind of shut it down. You know, it's cold. It's been cold in Portland lately. There's been some freakish snowstorms and whatnot. So who knows? But if we want to go to the price thing, because like you said, you're not overreacting to that performance yet.
No, and for me, Portland's just so barren as far as attacking options that Evander's got to produce. They brought him in to produce, to score goals, to assist. So
has not affected the price too much. You still are going to have to pay 10% more than the most recent sale to get him. So there you go.
Yeah, probably not going there, but definitely not running to sell my limited card either. So I think he bounces back. Maybe not this week. They've got a tough matchup at LAFC, so I'm not going to throw him in some of my top lineups. But I think in general, then Evander's one that I still think could do some big things in the league once he gets going.
Here was the time to get him. Shout out to Rock Dynasty or Dynamo, whoever you are, an absolute whatever, with your 4 months ago purchases of Evander for less than half an ETH. Probably won't see that again unless we see more of these 25 SO5 scores. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Let me see if I can go back to our midfielders list and just like, what did you think about Klitsch? Because like when Klitsch came into the league, I was like, oh, Matisse Klitsch, that's kind of a weird signing to go with all the other weird signings that have been happening around there. But he at 32 years old, he put in a shift and had himself a game as well.
Yeah, I think he's another one where DC, they need production out of him, and so
the goal helps obviously there. But
they've got Benteke scoring goals, obviously. Di Pietro, who we just talked about. But Klitsch is going to be relied on to supply some attacking contributions here and there. He did it the first game, and so I think he's going to be pretty involved with DC going forward. And he's another one of those. And I'm like, DC's not the same team as they were last season. Like they've actually got at least a starting 11 that can compete. Their depth is a little rough, but I like Klitsch. I think he's one to look at.
I've been way down on DC this year, and I mean, didn't they score their 2 goals like in injury time?
It wasn't injury.
It was
time.
a little bit of a lucky situation, I think, for them to get this win. I'm glad they got it for their sake. But how about my boy Andy Nahar crusher? I didn't play Nahar in any lineups either, and that was my mistake. He always crushes at home. He's really bad on the road, especially if the other team has turf. But
25 AA is nice.
Yeah, a subtle reminder to like play your guys at home, especially in MLS. We haven't brought this up this much on the show, but we both know this from DraftKings. We used to always say it, like home field advantage in MLS is like so critical and so important for sure. So
except for Austin this
Like,
past game.
well, yeah. In
Killed me.
you know, small sample size with the one game, but
Right.
overall, like more so than other leagues is the point I'm trying to make. I guess is that
Oh, definitely. I
yeah.
totally agree with that. I think there's some stats out there that back that up 100%.
How about Hector Herrera channeling the old just
Crushed
the
it.
old self, busting out 30-ish AA points himself. That was pretty wild to see, because there was question of whether he would even start for Houston, right? And then he came out and banged out the 93, just absolutely insane. And shout out if anybody had these guys, when you look at this page, by the way, you go to the game week center and you go to the players tab. If you've never seen this page, it's pretty nice. Then you can sort by leagues and whatnot. You can also click my players only, and it's kind of depressing. Like when I look at the team I could have made, like if I go all positions, I could have had Piet. I could have had Piet, Nuhu, Sava, and like Savarino and Piet are super rare. So I could have put super rare, and then rare. I could have had like a 500 in the America Rare Pro division if I knew how to build a lineup, but instead I did not get any of these combos right. But
hey, that's helpful though, because I mean I haven't even messed around with that page as much as I probably should, but that's cool to see that overall kind of all encompassing recap of your players, and then it gives you a little bit of insight as to who you should play where.
Yep.
And the upcoming game weeks, so it's good stuff.
Yeah, very cool. I was glad to see Andres Reyes do good. Some of my touts and like players that I wanted to had questions on about whether they would do good, I think came through for me, which was nice. Again, Pablo had really well. Performance got screwed at the very end. Like he was sitting on an 80. Ashley Westwood was dominant. Andres Reyes, I have a super rare. Like I bought an Andres Reyes super rare a long time ago. So I think finally, do you think we can count on him to be a locked-in center back for Red Bulls this year after Long is finally gone?
Yeah, I think so, and I think him starting the first game bodes well. Did they sneak out a win at Orlando in the first game? I forget what the result and that one was, but
they lost 1-0.
They lost
actually,
1-0.
sadly.
Okay.
Yeah,
but they've got a good matchup this coming weekend. So
Facundo in the 56th on a penalty. So Sean Nellis conceded to that son of a gun.
Was that John Nellis's long lost
No, that's one of
the
Red Bull Nellis. It's a slightly different spelling, but yeah. And another one of our new midfielders, Ojeda, came through, and Ojeda doesn't have any cards, right? As far as I know.
No, he doesn't have any cards, and that's a rough first outing too.
Yeah, but he affects the play, and for me, as a big Pereira owner, I love to see Pereira outscoring Ojeda. I think that's good for me, and playing more minutes than Ojeda, that's good for me. I think Pereira's upside has kind of shrunk a little bit with new free kick takers coming in and playing more in the defensive midfield, but his AA kind of flourish rises up a little bit, which is nice. Probably not great for the price I paid for this card, but without the yellow, he actually had a really nice game. I wanted to hit you up. I did horrible this game week, so it's not even worth really talking about my game week. I won one tier 3 rare, and I just didn't have the decisives. You need decisives in this game to win. I had some good AA guys, but again, the dream lineup I could have built, I didn't get put together. So, but you actually did kind of decent, won some decent prizes that you've already been able to sell. So, who says the market's dead? Why don't you take us through your game week? Let me see if I can call up a screen that shows it as well. Give us the highlights.
Yeah. No, it was a good kind of dipping my toes back in the water. Good first game week back, and it came away with some prizes. Honestly, it wasn't in the lineups that I felt like were some of my strongest builds. Ended up finishing 96th and All-Star Rare Pro, which that was probably one of my least priorities. Like I prioritized cap 240 and super rare, and so I actually hit the threshold there, which was nice little $100 hit first game week. And then I had Fafa Pico and Artur were my two super rares that I was able to kind of had left over from that super rare cap 240. And there you see it there up at the top. That was the lineup that ended up.
You got to feel good because Fafa was one of the guys we touted on our MLS value forwards, right? And said, like, go get this guy. He's dirt cheap. We talked about like the little hoops you jump through to trade for him, and for him to deliver the assist in week 1 to get you a top 100 finish is kind of nice.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Cisniega's in there, like some of those guys that we've kind of just, like you said, been
Yeah,
outing, I guess you could say.
that's frustrating. Yeah,
In the
because
build up.
you would have won ETH and a tier 1 easily if without that late goal with Pablo keeping the clean sheet.
Yeah,
Because
that
that
stung.
was like a 30-point swing for him for sure, depending on the XP. So brutal.
Yep, but that's all part of it. But yeah, that one kind of surprised me through the captain's armband on Zimmerman. He came through with a goal, and so yeah, in general, then yeah, I had that. I hit a few prizes in limited, and hit
Shout
that
out to
ETH thresh.
Artur being back.
Artur
A
delivered
SO5
some.
GOAT from 2020 that has really struggled since then. Really
Yep.
came back strong in a huge way.
Yeah, and he's in Houston now, so I think that opens up some more opportunity than when he was in Columbus. And
Sure.
yeah, he started out the game. I think that was like one of the first games that I had a lot of players going in, and he got a yellow card right off the bat. I was like, here we go. I was like, this is perfect way to start the season. But he came through the
Right.
AAs and delivered a big performance.
Two attempted assists, balls into the box. That's what it's all about. Winning duels. Artur's a baller for sure. And he's still fairly young. He's still like under 25, right? Or under 26, 27 range probably. So
yeah,
2 years off a major injury is a lot of times when you want to get these guys, right? The first year back, they're tentative, they're still going to struggle. Now all of a sudden he's starting to feel himself and get back to the player he used to be. So.
Yeah, it's all systems go again with him. So yeah, I mean,
here's a fun lineup. Carroll also couldn't deliver anything for you, but another Zimmerman. You couldn't captain Zimmerman twice. How pissed were you when you were thinking of this lineup and you saw Hanny start on the bench after it was like he's questionable, but then they said he's good to go, and it's just like,
yeah, that was frustrating. That was one where I was like hesitant to throw the captain's armband on him, but I was like, if I'm going to put him in a lineup, like I'm going to get as much as I can out of him.
Yeah, that's true.
If anything, and so yeah, he delivered an assist off the bench.
Yeah, like 14, 15 minutes of play, he crushed it.
Feel pretty confident about him starting this second.
Yes, I think he's back.
Week.
Yeah, I'll lock him in for sure.
I was hesitant, and I think I even said on the show, like I probably wouldn't even advise like rolling with him if you're leaning on him, but I ended up going with him too because I kind of keeping up with the news closer to kickoff, and yeah, it's like he's in the lineup or he's going to be in the lineup. So
let's talk about that, which is when you have these guys where you don't know, because we're now in that same situation with Lucas Zelarayan, and it kind of gets us into sort of our injury segment of the show we want to do, which we call I'm Hurt Dog. Like, don't ask me if I'm okay. Like the Zelarayan situation is looming for me this weekend because he's someone I always want in a main lineup, and he had a really poor game first game week. That's at Philly. You kind of can sense that coming when you're playing at Philly, that a bad game. It'd be more surprising if he had a great game against Philly. Let's put it that way. But now the matchups get a lot better, and I don't know if I can trust him to put him in because he's been trading off to the side the last 2 days, solo training. I'm hoping we're on Thursday early taping this Thursday morning in the United States. So like we are hoping to get more injury news in the next 24 hours before Friday's lock. But as of now, we don't know. If you're watching this, if you're counting on Zelarayan, if you want to know about what's going on in Columbus, who could fill in for him, maybe Kevin Molino becomes a play. Check the news what are some other injuries that jumped out to you? We've got Cascante, we've got Pantemis, we've got who else am I missing? The left injured during games and things like that.
I think Pantemis was the big one for Montreal. Unfortunately, his backup keeper, Sirois, I believe, does not have a card at this point. But yeah, you've got Yimi Chara. Yimi Chara hobbled off. He hobbled off with a hamstring, and so he's going to be out for several weeks. I think news broke after the first game week locked that Taxi for DC is going to be out for like 4 to 6 weeks. And so he's a solid player. I mean, for DC, then he's like kind of one of their key players. So that's a key omission that they'll be without for several weeks now.
Same thing for Diego Rubio in Colorado. Post-lock, they're like, oh, congratulations on a successful surgery on your knee, Diego. It was like, wait, what? We didn't hear about this at all. So, really frustrating. Also, Jack Price on the bench I don't know if that's just – I don't know what that was because he's always taken knocks, but I hadn't heard anything serious about him either.
Yeah, and you've still got guys dealing with visa issues. We saw Eloy Room was ruled out last week, and then I guess Pablo Ruiz too was a surprise to me. I actually had him in a lineup or two, and it messed my Cap 240 rare team up. I was 3 points away from hitting that 250 for the threshold, and
Oh,
with
with a
Ruiz goose
zero.
egg. So yeah,
Ooh,
it stung.
brutal.
So I'm watching that news, and then Giacomakis for Atlanta. Word is that he still has not resolved his visa issues either, and so he's like Atlanta's matchup this week at home against Toronto FC, who we saw has been leaking goals. Like they've got a solid team once they probably pull all the pieces together. But right now they're seem a little discombobulated in the back, and so I'm looking at Atlanta attackers, which we can hit on in our definite decisives a little bit later.
Yep, moments away, people. Thanks. There'll be some commentary on that as well. I did want to drop the funny story. There's always a great story that comes out of every game week. I would say one of the funnier stories that I also fell victim to on this was the Evan Bush. Like with everyone with Eloy Room out the door, everyone was like, "Oh, Evan Bush season. It's time for it's got to be Evan Bush." And we talked about it on the show, right? With Fripp. So everybody was like either deciding, do I want to risk buying an Evan Bush? Some people did, some people didn't, obviously.
I picked up 2 limiteds myself. Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, people were buying super
Thanks.
rares. Everyone was thinking that they had the game beat, and they're like, it's a tough matchup in Philly, but maybe he'll get 2 weeks. Maybe I'll get 2 starts out of it, and I can do something with it. Yeah. Make a bunch of saves, get me like 50 points or whatever. And so let's look at this. It's going to be a little skewed because I've got this computer blown up so much so that people can see. But let's see. Here's the 1 month graph on old Evan Bush, and you can also. It's even funnier maybe if you look at the 6 month graph, because this 0 line goes all the way. So I'll show both. But Bush has just a giant, like that's like Game of Thrones. Like that's the wall. Like this, like this over here is like civilization and everything. This is the wall. This is just all the wildlings or whatever, just like trying to get over. Because he shot up in price and then he shot like immediately down. It's just funny to see. And like, I don't know if anyone will ever be able to sell him again. I mean, here's the rare. You can see, similar phenomenon. Even the super rare had a few pops. If you look at like the 1 year super rare graph, it kind of pops up and doubles there. So just funny.
I feel fortunate, that all I fell for was a couple of limiteds as basically like some entry fees into some limited contests that I was, and maybe I'll fill out a lineup, maybe I won't. Like I just needed keeper in a couple of spots. He was the guy I went with, but I feel super fortunate, like you said. Like I saw people gobbling up super rares for seemed like absurd reactionary prices, and that's what kind of threw me off. I was like, who knows? Maybe he's the guy. Maybe it's only for a week. Like, is it worth it? And so, that was one that I would pump the brakes on reacting to too quickly, because like we knew it wasn't like an injury or something for Room. It's like, okay, a visa issue. Maybe he has it resolved next week and he's back in the squad.
Yep. Instead, we got Patrick Schulte, who's a starting under 23 goalkeeper at MLS. Let's pop up. He had some sales. It looks like when it was shown he was starting. But now the rumor is Room is back in training already. So I'm not sure if that, like, training with the first team. So I'm not sure if that means his visa is well sorted or what. But Patrick Schulte, unfortunately, his price, he gets his own little Game of Thrones wall here, shooting way up in the air, and then everyone falling off the other side. But he it's almost like lemmings. Maybe lemmings is the better comparison. Like this looks like a bunch of like lemmings, like all piling up to like get over a wall to me. But the sad fact is he gave up 4 goals to Philly. He had a really bad score anyway. He's probably not going to play again. So, but they get DC United at home. So this is like a dream matchup, like I said, for Zelarayan. DC United at home. It sucks if he's going to miss the game. What other key injuries are you looking out for here in game week 351 as we come across?
And I mean, I think we hit on most of them. Rui Diaz, I think, is still going to be out for Seattle, which we saw Ed Bear thrive in that role as kind of the lone striker. Scored a goal.
Thrived. He was great.
Yeah, he looked good. And so I think Rui Diaz is still out. I want to say Chicharito might still be out for the Galaxy.
Yeah, apparently there was a dust up because Cheech was like talking about his injury details on a Twitch stream and like pissed off the coach in Galaxy.
Wow.
It was like, yeah, that you're giving away strategic advantage, Cheech, and all this stuff. So who knows? Yeah.
I mean, it was like
F the
all
Galaxy.
over Twitter about him leaving training early with a hamstring that he'd already been having issues with. So
Right.
I don't see how that's
Right.
the case. But I'm trying to rack my brain. But yeah, I think we hit on most of the key ones. Obviously, like Reynoso's still out as far as we know. Like he's still not even with the team. And yeah, I mean,
I've heard crazy rumors about him. But when it comes to game week 351, then what are you doing with your builds? I wanted to say that I'm probably making a little bit of change in my approach. I didn't have very great results in 349, the first MLS week. And maybe it was arrogance. Maybe it was like me, like embracing the whole like MLS versus the world a little bit too much. And I put my best MLS teams into global divisions and all-star divisions and like the cap 270s and stuff, just to like to be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go win like the big prizes and stuff like that. And I didn't win much. And if I would have put my better teams into the America divisions, I would have at least won a few more things. I would have won something instead of just one tier 3 rare that didn't turn out to be very good. A German Bundesliga 2 guy that I got from some scrub club, Darmstadt or whatever. But regardless of that, the mission is to change. I think it's to change, is to learn my lesson. Zenit, Russia comes back, which means Zenit stacks are now in global, which makes it even tougher to win because those guys are like super OP. They always like score super high, Claudinho and Malcolm and whatnot. So like, I think that I need to rejigger my approach and just like put my best teams in the American division like I planned to originally, instead of being so arrogant and taking on MLS versus the world this early. Maybe a little bit later when teams are rotating, when the European teams are rotating a little bit more in the May, April and May range, then I can maybe get away with that. What do you think?
I like that approach, and I can totally see where you're going with it. For me, I think I'm going to stick to my guns and prioritize hitting that cap 240 threshold. I hit on 2 of 3 this past game week, hit super rare. We talked about the rare. I was a few points shy, even with a goose egg in my lineup, and then I hit the limited. And so that's going to be where I'm, I've been spending a lot of time putting the pieces together,
right?
Seeing how that shakes out. It does. And I think I told you guys, I think I ran some numbers. I want to say, I mean, if you hit every threshold over the course of the MLS season, you're going to be pushing about $6,000, which obviously we're not going to hit every single one.
Is that including unique or?
No, well, no, sorry. This is for super rare, and limited. So I'm not a whale yet to hit that unique threshold.
Well,
so
you never know.
Hey,
if you get there.
Yeah, 6K is 6K, and
prices are low these days. You could buy. It might be time to buy into unique.
Yeah. Don't think I haven't been taking a peek at the unique marketplace.
No doubt.
But yeah, I'm prioritizing threshold, and I see where you're going with America. But I kind of opened my eyes with the results that I had in the global All-Star Pro. There's a lot of ETH to be won in those contests.
That's true. That's true.
Between
since
rare
they
and
extended the ETH ladder, it's kind of nice for sure.
Yeah, and like
because you were there, you were sitting in the ETH for a while, and then dropped out right at the end.
Yeah, I was bubbling it, and so it was an eye opener. And I feel like if you do have a squad that you think can make a run in those contests, and I'm still going to be trying to eye it and say, hey, do I think these guys can compete with some of the big guns globally? And I think MLS is MLS, but when you put everybody together, as if they're scoring goals and assists, and it doesn't matter where they're coming from, they can compete. And so I like even a lineup that I put together this week, I feel like could make a run in one of the global rare contests. And so I'm kind of faced with that decision. Do I want to attack America where there's not quite as many prizes, or do I want to just throw it out there in rare and just see what happens, see if something hits, see if I can make a run at a big prize and some ETH? And that's kind of where I'm leaning right now.
I love it all, man. I hope we have great results to report next week for sure. And if you have results you're proud of, like, we want anyone that's like taking the time to watch the show and listen to the show, like, we love you. We want to point that out real quick and be like, hey, give us comments down below to let us know what you are liking, what your best teams are, what decisions you're pondering, what questions we can answer for you. All that kind of stuff is huge. Want to get now to the segment that was highly anticipated. much celebrated and ultimately left us deflated, which is the definite decisives.
Yeah.
We're very proud of this segment and the way that we want it to go. But the fact of the matter is, it didn't work out so well accuracy-wise or prediction-wise for the first week because we went 0 for 6, Sky. What happened?
St. Louis City FC happened.
yeah, exactly.
For me.
Exactly. For me too. Trust me, I had Stuver as my guy, and look what happened.
Yeah, I think we were like kind of in the ballpark. Zardes, I think I said I want to go Driussi here, but I'm going to go a little bit off the beaten path and roll with Zardes. Driussi scored automatic assists like Lucho at home against Houston. I'd go back there again if I had to do it again.
Right, that's a great play. Yeah, same thing with Vasquez. I'd go back all day.
Yeah, I wanted to go with Willis there. I was between Pace and Willis, and I said, let's go Pace at the end. Willis got the clean sheet. Pace gave up a goal at home, but they lose 1-0. So we were close, man. I was kind of – this was one where it stung a little bit because I wanted to make a run right out of the gate and
right, have a streak going for sure.
Yeah, make the definite decisives something that people look forward to. Well, if we keep this up, man, then we might have to consider dropping the segment. But
think about think about this though. For gambling purposes, it's being 100% right or 100% wrong is equally as valuable. Anyone that like thought that we're a bunch of idiots and don't know what we're talking about, take our definite decisives and bench all of these guys and fade them because you know that we're always wrong. You know, that can be just as valuable to anyone else looking for information. So
yeah, I like that.
Who knows? But I think it is time to like do week 2. Let's reveal our picks. And I'm not ready to give up on this segment. I think it's fun to at least talk about, and at some point it will earn us bragging rights. So why don't you give us your guaranteed goal for game week 351, MLS week 2? We will reveal it right now. And you decided to go with your boy in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm rolling with Luis Araujo. Missed the penalty kick last first game week, but he's been stellar. I mean, he's kind of the focal point of their attack right now, especially with Giacomakis up in the air. And he's scoring goals in preseason. Giacomos, I still can't say that right, but maybe by the end of the season I'll be able to pronounce it right. But yeah, word is that he is still dealing with his visa issues. So looks like it's going to be up to Araujo. Obviously, they've got Almada in there supplying some pretty world-class goals.
Yeah, huge comeback for them in stoppage time as well.
Araujo had 7 shots first game week, and so I think that says that he's going to continue to be peppering the goal. They're playing at home against Toronto FC, who, like we said, just little leaky at the back, even in preseason.
John's just not it for me anymore. Yeah, I just think he's kind of done these days.
I think they can get it together, but I think they've got a lot of stuff, a lot of kinks to work out.
No Insigne, less ball control. I think Atlanta has a chance to work them and start 2-0 for sure.
Yeah, I'm rolling Araujo.
For Mike, that's a good one. I'll put him in a line. I own him in limited. I'll put him in a lineup for sure, and I will be singing your praises if his goal comes through for real. I'll put him in a higher priority lineup than I would have before because I trust your guaranteed goal that much. But for me, I'm going with a guy that you probably would have wanted to pick, a guy you did pick in your lineup building last week, which is Hebert. I think you had Hebert in So Rare. You had him in DraftKings. You had him in Fantasy MLS. You had the Hebert all across the board. He came through with the goal and delivered. And I think he's going to score again because he looks really good in that Seattle attack. They're playing at home. They have a great matchup themselves. When you're picking these kind of it's all about matchups, right? When you're trying to like guarantee goals, like not so much that you're looking for some guy who's an amazing scorer. You're looking for a bad defense that's going to give up a goal, and you just pick the best scorer on that team. I think that's Hebert. And I think that he's going to get off to a great start in his Sounders career. Rui Diaz is still hurt. Hebert provides a different option. I always felt he was a little underutilized in New York City, even as he did battle some injuries there as well. But he's looking nice now.
I like it. Yeah, he and NYC. Then he had some good runs with them, but then especially once Castellanos was involved, and Hebert kind of took the back seat. Obviously, that was around the same time as his injury. But yeah, now in Seattle, then I think we said on the show before, like it sounds like they want to try to, even when Rui Diaz comes back, try to find a way to keep Hebert involved because he has been that good. And so, yeah, I like this pick.
So we talked about how you trust home teams, and you should always focus on the home team in MLS. I'm going to break that rule for my automatic assist because I'm going with Vancouver at San Jose. You can break that rule when you're going on the road at San Jose, because right now San Jose is just a leaky side that leaks goals. I think it's time for Gall to get involved with an assist, coming in strong. Vancouver had a little bit of a rough go against at home against RSL. Right, they were winning and winning. I was watching the game on Apple, and Takaoka was making some nice saves, the new Vancouver goalkeeper who sent Hasal to the bench to the dismay of many. And he was making these nice saves, and these announcers were like, this is why you go get a veteran keeper from the J League who knows what he's doing. This is, this guy has a chance to become one of the best keepers in MLS, easy. And then, like, it's announcer's curse, he immediately, like, conceded 2, like, relatively soft goals, like, right after that. But that's the defensive side. I think it's time for Vancouver to show their offensive shine. I think Brian White is looking okay. I do think Cordova is going to eventually, like, supplant Brian Wright as the first choice striker in Vancouver. It doesn't matter. Gall is the one who makes it all tick. Didn't make it happen in game week 1. I think in the second MLS game week, he comes through with the decisive against San Jose. No better matchup in the league.
The Godfather, I love it. Yeah, and and in addition to that, even if you don't get a decisive, his AAs are just so good. Like, you're gonna end up with a good score. He's a plug and play no matter what.
Yeah, exactly. This is, like I said, this is more because you're always going to play Gall. I don't think I'm, like, giving anyone, like, a green light to play Gall necessarily. So this is just a cheat pick to, like, get a green light on my score sheet here. Exactly, because I want to see it happen. So this is more of a reputation burnishing pick. Hopefully, if this doesn't come through, then I'm in big trouble. But who's your automatic assist?
Pull it up there so I can.
Oh yeah, you went with the same thing.
Yeah,
because of course, yeah, exactly. You copied.
We got to get back on track this week. Exactly. Yeah, we got to get back on track. Yeah. Heels at home. New England's playing Houston Dynamo at home, and they started out strong. They obviously came into Charlotte, got 3 points. I know you weren't thrilled with that, but they did what they had to do.
Heel was fairly useless also in that match, but
he's still a guy that. I mean, at least in MLS fantasy purposes, he still ended up with a ton of points just based on his peripheral stats. And
I think he got 15 AA still, even in a game where he wasn't that good. So
and so I think that he's going to be involved. I think New England are going to score some goals at home. Their home opener for the season, and Carlos Heel, a little bit of a kind of homer.
Yeah. We well recognize that if you have Heel and Gall, you're locking them into big lineups regardless, into your main lineups one way or whatever. We're not trying to be rocket scientists here, but it's just we need
a bounce back week.
Yeah, exactly. After we cut out last week, it's a bad situation. So you think I failed with Stuve last week? You went to Stuve this week to try to get your clean sheet going. What do you say?
Yeah. Going back to the well, and Austin took a tough loss at home in their season opener, but now they're back home against Montreal side that just super depleted of attacking options. And so, I feel like they have a big bounce back opportunity here. And Stuver again seems like kind of low hanging fruit. It feels like, hey, maybe,
but people don't play him. People don't play him. Like you and I are Stuver evangelists, but people don't like. We need to this is one where we're trying to let the world know. Like, Stuver is one of the best SO5 goalkeepers you can have in the American division for sure.
Yeah. He gave up 3 first week, but can't really blame him. He basically had a point blank shot. Point blank shot, and then left him hanging out to dry.
Blame Kip Keller for Stuver's negative decisive there, unfortunately. So I'm going to go with Georgi Petrovic. I'm again going with the New England flavor that you did. He shut out Charlotte FC. I think he keeps his sheet clean yet again, and he's one of the best young goalkeepers in the league. And I want to see some green on my score sheet. So let's get Georgie going.
Love it. Yeah, I love New England at home this game week. But hey, it's MLS. Maybe we'll see some more craziness like we saw first game week.
Yeah, so there you have it. Lock these guys in if you haven't already. I'm sure a couple of them you already have, but it's a fun segment. Don't take it too bad, Schuyler, that we missed in week 1. If we continue to have bad results, we'll just make it part of the bit because it's fun. It's a fun thing to deliver for the people. We'll see. But that's about all we got this week, folks. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for shouting out. Really, all do all the things you do, but really we just want your comments because it's really about the conversation. So, like and subscribe if you want. If you don't, we're not going to push it. But I would love to just see more comments because we love answering them. So that's all. That's my pitch for the end of the show.
Yep. Thanks, guys.